discuss with you was actually I wanted to go over just looking at what were your thoughts on what poverty is like in Algeria? Like what have you kind of seen um as like the overarching thing? Like what do
Right.
you see as like the main cause? What do you see as some of the like the gripes?
Consequence. Well, um, so basically, like first things first, it's about how we define, you know, poverty, because there are many definitions. If you go by like the definition that is set by the UN or whatever, it's like people who make less than $4. I don't remember the number, but there's a lot of definitions for what poverty is. Uh, but just for the context of this conversation, I'm going to be describing poverty as people who are basically living paycheck to paycheck and not even making that. So paycheck to paycheck just to survive, and they still have debt a lot of debt. And so that's pretty much like I would say 80% of Algeria, of people just paycheck to paycheck, and once the paycheck is done and they have no more money, they would have to go into debt from like the people, like the shops that they make purchases at and everything. And everyone that I've known in my family is doing good now, but growing up, like everyone around me was poor. Everyone around me, they wanted things that they couldn't get, whether it be clothing, sometimes even like school supplies and stuff like that. And uh it's not that Algeria is a impoverished country. It's just like, to answer your the second part of your question, which is what's the cause. It mainly has to do with government corruption at the top. That's basically it. Because if you look at a map of Algeria, you would soon see that it has three very distinct climates. So it has like
Mm.
forests and everything. It has one of the longest beaches, like 1,200 kilometers of just beach. So there's a lot of sea life. There's a lot of tourism. And also it has a huge desert that's full of like natural resources, gas and petrol and everything. So the country on paper should be extremely rich, and the people who live on it should be extremely rich, and yet they are not. So who is controlling the richness of these people is the distributors, and those are the people on the top. So if they don't allow the people to be rich, people are not going to be rich, and so that's where the epicenter of the problem is. It's the corruption on the top that's not letting a proper distribution of what the country is actually worth.
Wow, that's an interesting perspective. I don't know if I thought that would be the case. Um,
Mm.
but it's a good perspective. When I was thinking more of poverty, in the United States or just around the world, like I'm thinking more of like destitute poverty. So I'm thinking like
Mm.
one meal a day, um, uh, lack of the amount of struggling to even take care of your children,
Right. Yeah.
that level of pain. So, um, in the United States, we have um, we have a few really, really challenging cities. I'm from New Jersey, but
Mm.
I live close to New Jersey in a state called Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm
and in
aware.
New Jersey, there's a city called Camden, New Jersey, arguably the worst city in America, right? So like
Mm.
a lot of children, a lot of black people um dying, gangs, uh,
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
illegal substances, so growing up in those type of neighborhoods, there isn't a lot of hope for the future. I
Mm.
currently live in Philadelphia, and I've lived in different parts of Philadelphia, and I would say the same thing. Like you see a lot of black people, especially in America, a lot of it is black and Hispanic people,
Yeah,
um,
minorities basically.
minorities,
Hmm.
you know what I mean?